The following is a back-to-school message by the Minister of Education, the Honorable Jeffery Lloyd.
My beloved Bahamians, as we prepare to begin the school year for more than 60,000 Bahamian students studying in the public and private, pre-primary, primary, and secondary schools, I take a moment to thank the many teachers, administrators, and support staff who continue to put this country's future generation first and foremost. To you, I say your commitment is duly noticed. And on behalf of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, I thank you, my beloved Bahamians. This coming academic year will be a time of great opportunity. Yes, there were challenges leading up to this point, but we celebrate the fact that we successfully completed the 2020-2021 academic school year despite this unprecedented global pandemic. You have already heard much about the impact of Hurricane Dorian and the COVID-19 pandemic and its global impact on the delivery of educational instruction. The Ministry of Education took the necessary measures to ensure that we provided an opportunity for all of our children to receive a quality education. The ministry will continue to focus on leveling the playing field for all of our children, particularly our most vulnerable, and those whose socioeconomic standing has been further compounded due to this vicious pandemic. COVID-19 imposed seismic shocks on every economy on this globe, including ours, resulting in massive layoffs and business closures. Those consequences are easy to identify, but what may not be so obvious on the first inspection is the emotional toll this new economic reality has taken on much of our citizenry. Worries over maintaining one's good health and even life itself have often paled in comparison to the mounting concerns of meeting one's financial commitments. The Ministry of Education appreciates that many parents were juggling to keep their children interested and focused on their learning, while simultaneously trying to put food on the table and keep a roof over their heads. We understand the difficulty that students face while attempting to concentrate on his or her lessons in these very tough times. And that is why we adopted an holistic approach to meeting our students' needs. Back in September of 2019, after the passage of Hurricane Dorian, the ministry immediately intensified its efforts to help meet the socio-economic challenges which many of our students and their families faced. We increased the availability of psychological and social counseling sessions for our students, their parents, and our educators. We put in place hotlines, hosted town hall meetings, and developed a variety of social media platforms to give mental health support for all who needed it. Additionally, through the generous support of private citizens, NGOs, civic and corporate partners, commencing with the Leno Learning Initiative, the ministry provided devices or tablets to some 50,000 students so that their education could continue in a virtual or hybrid modality. Special thanks to Cable Bahamas and Alive, through whom we were able to obtain thousands of devices at cost and many months of free Wi-Fi access. We also partnered with the Department of Social Services to provide free Wi-Fi zones for those students who lacked internet capability. And we want to thank all of our donors for their most kind assistance to our deserving students in this time. For those families with no electricity or other basic necessities, we distributed thousands of learning packages for students to collect from schools, which were then completed and returned for review and correction by teachers. My beloved Bahamians, many of our students depend on the school system for a lunch meal. The Ministry of Education continued with that program. We even increased it as the need expanded. And while schools were not in physical session, we converted the lunch vouchers into food store coupons, permitting families throughout the country to purchase critical grocery items. And the ministry is committed to doing its part as best as our resources would allow. As you know, this global pandemic with its restrictive health and safety protocols, volatile employment levels, and increasing health challenges, which are accelerating mortality figures, have meant that the ministry's focus must extend beyond getting our students to pass exams. In this time of COVID-19, the way that we deliver education has had to change because it is directly linked to the prevailing public health situation of our nation. The ministry's operating theme is, quote, safety first, education always, end quote, especially now. In all of our decisions, the bottom line consideration is the health and safety of our students, administrators, principals, teachers, staff, guests, and the public who visit our premises. On this, there can and never will be a compromise. Throughout this pandemic, we have had extensive and sustained consultations with the health authorities as to the best and safest mode of learning and teaching. In recent weeks, the Ministry and the Department of Education have been in almost daily discussions with the health officials as to the best approach for the commencement of the 2021-2022 academic year. They have been our guide and have given us clear directives. And while our preferred mode of instructional delivery is face-to-face, following a series of consultations with the health authorities, the Ministry of Education has decided that all government-operated schools will begin this new school year using the virtual learning format starting on Monday, August 30th, 2021 at the usual time. Safety must come first, even though education is always. It is now an indisputable fact that the country's health resources, both public and private, are fully maximized. And while our schools are generally safe with a healthcare system already under severe strain, the ministry considers that out of an abundance of caution regarding containment of the possible spread of COVID-19, the Ministry of Education considers that online instruction is best at this time to assist the country in reducing the chances of experiencing a spike in COVID-19 cases. Again, as the aim is to get our students back in school face-to-face, but we will not put their health and their lives at risk, nor the lives of their teachers, administrators, parents, and staff. We are not insensitive to parents and guardians and their child care needs, and we ask you please to consider carefully the reason for our decision and to bear with us during this brief period in your child's lives. This decision, of course, will be reviewed constantly, weekly we hope, with the hope that we will return to face-to-face as soon as the public health condition permits. As we did during the last academic year, the return to face-to-face instruction will depend on local conditions on each island. Some schools, small island communities, may return to face-to-face sooner than other islands, again, as health officials deem it safe to do so. At this time, the Ministry of Education strongly urges all private schools to adopt a similar position by engaging their students using a virtual format. This, we believe, is the best and safest approach for our education in these perilous times. Nevertheless, those schools who want to proceed with some face-to-face instructional activities must first receive written approval from the Ministry of Education. In the interim, parents, we encourage you to secure all necessary materials for children to benefit from this virtual learning environment. At a minimum, each student should have a device or a tablet, reliable Wi-Fi access, and a conducive space for learning. The Ministry of Education will continue to monitor closely the state of this ever-evolving public health challenge to determine when it is safe for our students to return to our campuses. Our mission remains to provide all persons in the Bahamas with a quality education. And this is only possible if we maintain a standard of safety first and education always. Just a note, if the infection rates and challenges to our healthcare system continue without respite, online learning will probably dominate the way we deliver instruction in this upcoming school year. Because today, our reality is a mixture of contact tracing and quarantining, mask wearing, and COVID-19 vaccines. We all probably have either been touched by this pandemic or know somebody who has been. And while we believe this will pass, we recognize that in the meantime, life must continue. The economy must rebound, and learning must go on. And despite the challenges facing us, and indeed, because of the challenges facing us, we must work together. All of our staff, including administrators and teachers, guidance counselors, and support staff, inclusive of the bus and ferry drivers, lunch vendors, security guards, janitresses, office personnel, have been given training to ensure that they are operating responsibly in this new COVID-19 environment. And I repeat, my beloved, in all of our decisions, we will be guided and directed by the health authorities. And based on the current state of our economy and our country, and progressively with the rising COVID-19 cases, we believe that our 2021-2022 academic year will continue to fluctuate between face-to-face, hybrid, and online. And that fact brings me to the issue of parental influence on student achievement. There is a vital need for our parents to maintain an ongoing collaboration with their child's school and teacher, even more so when faced with the remoteness of online learning. So parents, I encourage you to remain active in your child's school community. The Ministry of Education will continue to do its part to promote a culture of learning, whether face-to-face or remotely. And I've already challenged our school administrators to create a culture within their academic environment to promote school pride. It's a major tenet in the relationship that is nurtured between their schools, students, and parents. I would like for us to be assured that all schools have the adequate signage and have been outfitted with an adequate supply of sanitation and cleaning equipment to maintain a healthy and safe learning environment. Our focus will be on ensuring that more of our students leave school with the Bahamas High School diploma, an increasing number of students obtaining good results in our national examination results. Indeed, despite the pandemic, the Ministry of Education forged ahead with preparing our students to sit their national exams during both the 2020 and the 2021 sittings. These are our internationally recognized Bahamas General Certificate of Secondary Education, the BGCSE, and the Bahamas Junior Certificate, that is the BJC. And despite delays, we were able to complete those exams. And I can say here that our examination results were commendable, especially considering the circumstances. For this, I commend our educators, parents, and students for their outstanding efforts. My beloved Bahamians, we can do it. We have overcome challenges before, and we can overcome them again with God's help. The success of the exams prove that working together as partners allows us to achieve our ministry's vision of academic excellence. I thank you, and I wish all of us a successful, safe, and productive 2021-2022 academic year. God bless you, and God bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
The proceeding was a back-to-school message by the Minister of Education, the Honorable Jeffery Lloyd.